it's pretty unavoidable. So, how I find that manifests in my body is that I feel a little more tight, and I feel a little more tight around the shoulders and upper back. So a little movement here may help to reach into that tightness, and you can take some deep breaths if you need to. You can wiggle, you can shake, you can sway, and as you're reaching into space, at the same time we're staying connected to our contact with the floor. So we're bringing in grounded quality, but also an expansive quality to our practice. We're maintaining that contact that we have here with the floor, to feel earth, to feel settled, but also not being bound by that, being able to reach up and out. Okay, now we're going to bring our arms down in a wide circle. We're going to place our hands on our thighs. We're going to drop the shoulders. We're going to soften our forehead, release our jaw, and come back to settling into breath. Okay, now I'd like you to bring your right hand to the floor and just creep your hand out. So start to lean over towards the right, and we're going to bring our left arm up and over. We're going to allow that hand to creep out quite fast, so we can really lean over into it, but we don't want to lean and collapse into it. What we want to do is lean and reach over to the side. So we can express that reaching over, so we're not collapsing, by feeling that we are extending up into the side ribs on the left side of your body. As you lean over towards the right, and you can breathe into that. And then again, you might feel that you need to move a little here. So if it feels tight along that side line of your body, one of the things you can do is lean into it and reach out and just play into it. Okay, now we're not going to come up as we went down. We're going to allow ourselves to reach forwards, reach the arm out in a wide circle, land the hand to the other side, creep that hand out, and then again take the upper arm up and over, and then again we can reach into it. We can place a little pressure through the hand, so we're reaching up into the side ribs, and then we can play into that, so maybe a little forwards lean and then an opening out. So feel the movement, feel the freedom that we're looking to create around the whole of this upper body area and the chest. A little light tone in the belly. Okay, well done. And when you're ready, inhale and come up and rest your hands, and just take a moment to allow everything to settle through the neck, through the shoulders, through the side ribs. Let your forehead soften, let your jaw release. Come into connection with yourself, really come into the heart center. And when we come into the heart center, it may seem like an instruction that is almost self-absorbed or self-obsessed, but actually what happens when we come deeper into, a more intimate relationship with the aspect of us that is simply being, rather than the aspect of us that is being somebody, then it tends to open us out into a wider connection with others, because we're less caught up in the sort of transitory activity. So we can reach out. As we reach in, we reach out. We can reach out to our shared community here. Our shared community of those friends of ours who are dialing in and watching online. And to everyone else. So someone who's dialing in hasn't got their video mute. So if you could mute yourself, those
I don't know how to do it.
That would be great. Thanks. Oh, okay. Got no idea how you do it, but I'll see if I can sort you out in a minute. See if I can do it from this end.
You carry on.
Okay. Thank you. So just pause, breathe, settle in. Quite nice to have a dog in the class, though, isn't it? We're all enjoying the dog. Okay, we're going to change the cross of our legs. So give them some movement if you need to. Shake it out, wiggle it out. Cross your legs. Draw your buttock leg out and back. And again, back to Sukhasana. Now we're going to feel into a little bit more movement here. So maybe a little wiggle from side to side to start with. So we can just feel into just a little bit of movement up through the body. We're not particularly trying to stretch into it, but we're just trying to feel a bit of movement. And then I'd like you to bring your hands up in front of you. And I'd like you to then just bring some shaking to your hands. And I want you to shake it out, shake it forwards, shake it back. Take your arms out, shake it above, and then just allow yourself to move into it so we can turn. We can lean into it. We can lift up. So just feeling into some movement that, you know, in some way it's less controlled than a lot of the movement that we do in yoga. We're just sort of feeling this randomized shaking, just to feel into the body, but you know, in a way that, you know, isn't overly contrived. So we can just start to let Shakti lead us, this power of consciousness lead us into our practice. Rather than thinking about it, rather than just simply following an instruction, we're just feeling into any movement that feels right with this little bit of shaking out. And then we're going to bring that down and we're going to rest our hands back in our lap and feel into what remains there. Perhaps there's some sensations that ripple through the body, a little light fluttering perhaps. And then find your breath. Okay, we're going to bring it up to standing now. So uncross your legs again, give yourself some movement if you need to. And then when you're ready, bring yourselves up. Okay. Okay, we'll come into the centre of our mat. We'll bring our feet in towards each other as we normally do. So we're in Tadasana and coming into that more compact Tadasana with the feet closer in, but they don't have to be touching. They may just be, you know, close to each other. And then again, we're going to feel into a little bit of movement here. So we're going to let the knees bend and maybe a little bouncing on the spot, but let the shoulders release. So you're not holding the shoulders up, you're just letting the arms hang, and with that little bit of on the spot bouncing, we can just let the arms swing in whatever way they want to move. Okay, breathe. And then we're going to bring that up. And again, we're going to move to a little shake. We're going to shake out through the arms. We're going to bring it above the head. And shake out through the legs. So just move in any way. And, even watching out for the movement becoming, we can get into a little habit of just shaking in a rhythm, and that's okay, but we might find that sometimes we have to just give it another shake out. So we're not just dropping into a mechanical action, and we're just feeling into a little shaking, however we want to shake. Okay. And then come to stand. We'll take the feet hip width apart, and again, we'll just feel into what remains from that movement. How, that movement enlivens the body. Forehead soft, jaw. Okay, we're going to take our brick or anything that you have as an alternative. I think I suggested for those of you online to have a toilet roll. They're so topical at the moment. Okay, let's take a wide stride. Now, if you take a wide stride, so make sure that those of you on this side have got plenty of room on the right side of your mat. So if you step out towards the left side of your mat, we're going to come into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose on this side. So I want you to turn your left toes in. Turn your right foot and leg out. Now, you might lift up. I often lift up the back heel and kick the heel out as well. But, moving between the feet, sometimes you need to almost move and play between the feet and keep replacing the feet. So when you place your feet, you want to come into a position where you feel settled between the feet and you feel really sort of grounded into it. Okay, and we're going to take our brick in our right hand. Now we're going to raise that right arm up. Tone the lower belly so you can lift through the chest. So there's an action here of this engagement. It's like a flow, it's like a ripple up through the body. We extend up, we play and we move. So again, you might move a little here, as we often do, this wiggle of the hips to help us to, locate that freedom of movement that we have in the hips. We can get a little caught in them, but just feeling into that freedom that's there, going to help us move into our Trikonasana. So we're going to lift up, we're going to extend. We're going to allow a tilt from the pelvis, so deepening down into the feet, lifting up out of the pelvis, letting the pelvis turn sideways on, and then the body, the torso simply follows. We're going to place our brick behind us. We're going to raise the top arm up. We're going to soften our forehead and release our jaw. Breathe. And we're going to feel again into a little movement here. So we're going to bring that top arm down and we're going to extend it forwards. And we're going to reach out and feel the opening that comes into the chest in that reaching out. So let your arm move. Maybe about 3 times we might do this so we can really feel that extension, and we can just get into again the freedom of movement through the shoulders. Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to bring that top arm back to the hip, the hand to the hip. We're going to bend the front knee. We're going to step the back foot in a step, and we're going to transfer our block around about a foot ahead. It can be on the highest level, or you may lower it down, and then you can raise your leg up and breathe. So wherever you are, I want you to allow the breath to flow. You can start to open your chest towards the front of the room, towards the space in front of you. And breathe, and don't get frustrated, you know, if you lose your balance. It's okay. We just pick ourselves back up again and then come back into it. Breathe. Okay, let's take that top arm up and see if we can take that arm over here. So we're almost making a sort of T shape with the body here. That's it, breathe. Okay, bring the arm back, and then as the arm comes down, let the body join it, so there's a movement together here. We can come back through our Trikonasana, and then when you're ready, deepening the confidence flow, inhaling and coming up, release that back shoulder, feel the release through the neck. Turn your feet back into the center. You can step them back together for a moment or two, and we'll just pause. We'll hold our block so your fingers are just underneath the bottom of the block. You're allowing your shoulders to release. You're allowing your breath to settle. And giving yourself here and now. Okay, we're going to move to the other side. So we can take that wide stride again, making sure you've got plenty of clearance on this side. So we can come into our Ardha Chandrasana, breathing. You turn your back toes in, so it's your right toes in, and you can lift up your heel and extend the heel out, and then turn your left foot and leg out, front heel lining up the back in step. And then again, you might move a little between the feet to find your feet. Okay, and then with the feet deepening down, again, let's just feel into the movement through the hips. So let's have a little hip wiggle, so we can feel that we are free to move our pelvis. This is where we want to initiate our movement from. And then you can place your back hand on the hip. You can raise up your lead arm and then lift up. Light tone in the belly, lift into the chest, inhale. And exhale and fold. And again, continue this light tone of the belly and feel that ripple effect of moving up through the body. You can raise your top arm up. Deep breaths. Forehead soft, jaw released, and feel into any movement here. So again, we'll do the same movement that we did last time with the arm. So bringing the arm back and forth. You can even let your body lean into this if you like. So you might reach forwards, let the body turn, and then let the body open out again, even reaching the arm back behind you, so you can be fairly creative with it. Into that rotation in the shoulder, and then when you've moved the arm around 3 times, we're going to bring our hand back onto the top hip. We're going to bend the front knee. We're going to step the back foot in a step, and we're going to bring the block forward so we can transition ourselves into Ardha Chandrasana. We can raise the back leg up, so the back leg is coming towards being parallel with the floor. But it's fine if it's down here. You know, you may be feeling into the balance. It might take a while for that leg to be able to open up and for the body to be able to turn forwards. Keep breathing. Holding your breath will definitely not help you to balance. That's it. Breathe. You may raise the top arm up if you wish, or you can keep your hand on your hip. We are in a moment going to take that top arm over so we can extend it in a straight line with the leg. If we can, that's it. Breathe. Don't go into breath holding just for this last bit. Keep the breath flowing. Okay, well done. Top arm's coming back, and then as the arm starts to pull further back, you bend your front knee, you take your back foot back, you bring yourselves to your block, you pause, you breathe, and then you bring yourselves up, pressing into the front, inhaling, calming up, turning the feet to the front, stepping the feet back towards each other. Just taking hold of your grip, dropping your shoulders. So dropping your shoulders, you know, it's not really a movement that we have to apply an action to. It's more of a taking action away, and the action that we're taking away is the holding of the shoulders. So we just stop holding. That's all we do to drop. We just stop holding, and then they drop by themselves. So with your eyes closed, if you're comfortable to have your eyes closed, use this as a moment. Moving deeper to the entire experience that's happening beneath the surface of your skin, throughout the whole body, to the deepest layers of body, the physical body. But also what is happening beyond that. So feeling through the skin, feeling into the space around you, feeling into the floor beneath you. Okay. Just take your block, you hold your brick or alternative object. If you have an alternative object at home, but you can do it without a brick as well. But between the hands, so hands flat, okay? And then we're going to raise our arms up. So you have to obviously press a little into the block to secure the block here, and we lift up. Now, because we're not grabbing hold of the block, we're simply holding it between the two flat hands, then there's a little bit more effort required here. So you press in, you lift up, and you feel the shoulder blades deepening into the back ribs, light tone in the belly, lifting the chest again. Feel free to move into it, to sway into it, to play into it, to feel into it and to breathe into it. And if, of course, you are doing it without a block, you can apply a pressure as though the block were there. You can feel into and okay, well done. Release your arms down. Let yourself just lightly hold the block. The fingers tucked underneath. And again, allow the shoulders to relax by simply stopping any holding that you have. Okay, we're going to fold ourselves forward. So your feet are hip width apart. You can pop your brick on the floor in front of you. Place your hands onto the hips, so onto the top of the hips. We're going to fold from the hip joints. We're going to have our feet hip width apart, and again, just play into that, feel the contact with your feet. Maybe let's go for a little, on the spot, like we're doing that walking that people used to do, that exercise walking where they wiggle their hips like this. We can do that on the spot here. Okay, so just feeling in again to a little bit of movement, and then allowing that setting. So sometimes these movements, they might feel like, oh, well, what's the purpose of this? Sometimes the purpose of this is to feel into what's left behind after we complete the movement. So there may be flutterings of energy, or a more immediate drawing into stillness. I often will find that it may be movement that takes me into being able to be still. So that's why we often play between things like holding a really still posture like Tadasana, and then shaking our body out, or doing something that is much more kinetic. We're going to feel into fold forwards. Now, rather than just making this an action that is linear and just folding forwards, again, feel into some movement. So your hands maybe on your hips, and you may wiggle yourself forwards again. So you may move perhaps from side to side, but allowing this turn from your hip joints. You may need to bend your knees a little to create the freedom to move. And what that does is allows you, even more movement, which can be useful even if you are coming towards extended legs. You might find that useful. Obviously checking in with your knees. If your knees are not happy about that, then, keep your legs towards extension, towards straight. And then you bring your hands down, and again you can continue the process. Might be that there's more available movement through the hamstrings. So if you're getting this release through the back of the legs, you can allow yourself to continue to fold forwards, to release down towards the floor, to breathe. Softening your forehead, releasing your jaw, playing into it, stretching, moving. Enjoying your breath. So this is one of the things that I've been focusing on. Maybe I have focused with you guys in classes, but recently that, the breath, rather than just thinking of the breath that is something, we take a deep breath, or, we extend the breath, or we do this with the breath, or that with the breath. Just focus on enjoying your breath. And when we enjoy the breath will do its own thing. It will support the body in the exact way that the body needs support at that moment in time. Now you may continue folding forwards. If there's tightness in the lower back, when you bend into the pose, then bending your knees will help to release the lower back. Your head and neck will release. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves back up, so we extend the arms, our hands are on our block or whatever object we might have there. And what we're going to do, not come all the way up, so don't rush up. Bring your block to its highest level. We're going to jump our feet apart from here. So hands pressing into your block, trust the block, take a jump. Yeah, that's it. Excellent. Okay, so we're in a wide stride. So again, we're going to feel into a little bit of movement here. So let's bend the knee. Now lift your heel into it, because that will give you a little bit more sort of joined up movement throughout the whole leg. So if you lift your heel and bend your knee, you can take a little lean over to one side and then deepen into the ball of the foot, let the heel land and take a lean over to the other side. So we're reaching into the stretch through the inner thigh and through the inner groin, but you know, feel free, lift the heel into it, move the foot into it as you need to, and just reach into that extension. Then when you're ready, land the heels, and again, you can play into it, you can move into it, you can wiggle into it, and we're going to fold ourselves forwards again. So if there's more available turn here, you can start to turn. You might bring your hands or fingertips down to the floor. And then take a breath. And keep yourself to your breath. And then walk your hands forwards. And it might be that you're just walking a little further forwards. It might be that you're walking fairly far forwards, that the body starts to turn. Now, as the body starts to turn, we can stay here. We may perhaps utilize our block, depending on where we've turned to bring the forehead onto. If that, you know, if it's not overly pushing the head up, or we're not having to overly tuck our chin in to reach the block, you can utilize your forehead, your block at either level to support you. Now, we are perhaps supported by our block, but it's okay if you're not. We've got our hands stretching forwards, and we're going to feel into a little extension through the body. So feel into the top of the thighs, pulling back behind you, and feel into the extension of the hands forward. So we're almost reaching the body in two directions to feel really long through the body and breathe into it. Okay, well done. Slide your hands in. We'll walk our feet in towards each other. We're going to keep walking them in. Bend your knees as much as you need to, because we're going to come down to a kneeling position. And we're going to sit back on our heels and settle. Now, some of you might need that support of a block or a folded blanket between your buttocks and heels. And just rest your hands there in your lap. And again, we'll allow this release of the shoulders, this settling of the body by simply not holding. So it is as simple as that. It doesn't always feel as simple as that, but you know, it's as simple as being able to just choose to not hold. So what we have to do, first of all, to choose to not hold is to recognize where there may be holding. So as we sit, we feel into the body. We observe, not from the point of view of being, you know, someone who is observing something that is outside of you as the observer. So this is what can happen sometimes if we go into perhaps scanning the body. It's like we're looking for something, and it's like we're looking for this object or this thing that's happening, this holding that's in the body, or this stretch or this sensation. But what I want us to do is to feel like you are almost taking a little miniature version of yourself and moving it through your body. So you are infusing yourself into the sensations, into the stretch, into, you know, whatever it is we are looking for, the holding, the tension, the freedom. And then when we meet any of these things in the body, we just fully infuse them with ourselves. So it's not this sense of this thing that is happening, this thing that I need to get rid of or I need to change or manipulate. It's allowing ourselves to sit in that, to be in it fully, to almost consume it into our being, so there is no separation between our experience and ourselves, the one who is having the experience. Okay, release from this posture now. We're going to bring ourselves down onto our side. So lay down on your side. Okay, so yeah, it's fine for you to all face, have your head on the outside. We're going to come down. Okay, now we're going to place our free hand into the floor. We've got one hand supporting the head. Our free hand's going to press into the floor. We're going to lift and lengthen the upper body away from the hip. We're going to lift and lengthen the elbow away from the armpit. Perfect. And then we should feel fairly lengthened out on the underside of the body, and we can let the body drop into the floor. So again, once we've set up this structural support, we're not going to focus on doing anything here. We're going to focus on just relaxing into it, just settling into it. So releasing the holding, releasing our sense of having to drive this to a certain place. Just letting ourselves be here on our side for a moment. So find your breath. And again, take some enjoyment of your breath, even joy in your breath. Okay, we're going to raise the top leg up a little from the other leg so we can move the leg. We're going to allow it to move back and forth so we can let the body move into this. So we can place our supporting hand wherever it feels most supportive on the floor in front of us. We can take the leg back behind us and we can lean into that. That's it, breathe. And then we're going to bring the leg forwards, and we can allow the leg to draw further forwards, and you can lean the body back. So it's like a little counterbalance with the body. You'll have to keep your hand deep into the floor for that support. And then we'll continue a couple more times in that movement and leaning back and leaning forward. So reaching in. Feeling every stage of the movement as, an equal part of the experience. We're not just trying to get to the position where the leg is either in front or behind, but we are, we're taking that same enjoyment, that same attention through all stages. So as the leg is drawing back to the center, as it's starting to move out, each stage is as important as the stage that we might see as the sort of final position that we're placing our body. Because each stage is an offering to attention, an offering to total awareness. Okay, we're going to bring our leg back on top of the other leg and allow it to settle. If you feel any tightness around the hip or the buttock from that, feel free to give it a rub or a little pat, can be useful. Okay, now we're going to take a little circling action of the leg so we can rotate at the hip. Now, you can feel like you are drawing circles in the air with your knee. Keep breathing. Okay, now let's just bring the foot down behind the leg for a moment. So your heel may or may not come to the floor depending on the movement that you have there at the ankle, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. And I want you to feel this sense of extension towards the knee. So we're just getting into a little stretch here through the front thigh. Breathe in. So it's a fairly relaxed looking posture to observe, but as you feel your way into it, you are adding energy into this top leg, into this extension towards the knee. And you're breathing into that. Okay, now ease off. Bring the knee forwards. Take that wide circle once again. And then we're going to start to take that leg up. We're not going to take hold of the foot as we often do, but we're just going to extend the leg up by itself. Reach up. That's it, breathe. So you're reaching up, may take your leg to a more bent leg position like this, or it may take your leg to a more extended position. So you can feel into it. And it might be, again, as we've been doing, and as we so often do, that there's movement here, that you need to move into it, that you want to play into that movement. So it's very likely that it's going to feel strong to a certain extent around the buttock of the raised leg here. So, feel free to do what you can to be able to maintain the posture, but without holding, without grasping, but with freedom. It might be with movement, it might be with breath. Okay, well done. Let's lower that leg down, place it on top of the other. Take a deep breath, soften your forehead, release your jaw. Bend up the knees. Take a little lean forwards, press into your hands, walk your hands in towards you, and we'll swap ourselves around to the other side. So, come back down. That's it. Rest your head in your hand. Take that support behind the head, and your free hand can be on the floor in front of you. And then again, we'll lengthen out the underside of the body. So this free hand presses into the floor. We press in, we lift up through the ribs and extend away from the hip. We're going to lift up the elbow and extend away from the armpits. And then just pause and breathe into it. So again, you might play a little here before we start to move. Feel free to just drop everything. So apart from this head support, of course, but Other than that, we've then just we've set up the structure, so we should be free to release into it. You know, it's not requiring us like, for example, the Adi Chandrasana we did earlier, the half moon pose, requires us to really hold that shape because there's a balance there. Once we've set ourselves up here, we're not really required to do anything to hold the shape, so we can just give to it for a moment. But we might find that we want to move a little into it. We want to move across the hip to feel into it. To breathe. Okay, I'm going to raise the top leg up a little. And then again, we're going into this action. So we can take the leg behind us. We can lean the body forwards into it. And then we can bring the leg forwards and lean the body back. That's it. And just play into this action. You can pause at any stage. You know, you can be fairly expressive. It might be that you're taking the leg back. It might be that you're raising the leg a little higher. You might be turning the body more into it. So, you know, there's a little scope for a bit of exploration here too. Okay, and then when we next bring the leg back, we're going to place it on top of the other. We're going to take a breath here. And then we're going to draw those circles with our knee again, so we can draw those circles wide. So you're really getting into the hip. What we find from this action is we'll start to, sometimes you get like a sort of dull ache that comes into that outer buttock area because of the work into the gluteus maximus, intensa fascia lata. So these muscles that help in this movement here. So we start to feel that work. And then what we're going to do on our next rotation is we're going to bring the foot down behind the leg. So we're going to land that foot there. And again, your heel may come down, it may not. It might be very dependent on how much space there is in your ankle for that. But when we land the foot, we then feel into this sort of extending action through the leg. So you're reaching into your knee. That's it, breathing, forehead soft, jaw, knees. So really feel into that stretch. You might feel into it, you might relax into it, and then feel into it again. Okay, and then knees off, and then bring the leg back into another wide circle, and this time we're going to extend that leg up. That's it. That's it. Deep breaths. Forehead soft. Breath flowing. Okay, and then slowly bring that leg down on top of the other. Find your breath again, find that enjoyable breath. And then you may bend up your knees. Lean yourselves forwards, press into the hands, come in, so you come all the way up, and then we're going to come back into Sukhasana. We're going to draw our butterfly out. In fact, we're going to take support if we need it, so sit on a block, place support underneath your shins if you need to, and then place your hands there on your knees. Okay, and we're going to feel into a movement. We're going to go into a forward bend, but it's not going to be, we're going to see if we can still fold from the hips as we would always fold from the hip joints, so we allow the pelvis to turn, but normally we'd fold down and we'd wait for release and wait for release. It's going to be a little more fluid this time, so we're going to take our arms forwards in front of us, so we're going to allow this turn of the hips. We're going to take our hands just along the floor, just above the floor. We're going to reach forwards, and then we're going to reach our arms up. So we're going to keep some tone in the belly as we bring the arms up. We're going to take the arms out wide, and we're going to do the same again. So almost like a little sort of swimming action, like we're diving in with the hands. We're extending through, we're reaching up. Lift, 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 and extend arms out wide, and then again, let's dive in. Tone in the belly to support that lift up. Keeping this nice steady flow of your breath. Okay, when you next brought your arms around in a wide circle, just rest your hands on your thighs, and again, just give to the breath. Let the shoulders release by not holding them. Okay, we're going to feel into a little back arch, and it's going to be Vajrasati, which is camel pose. Now, we're going to fold our mat up for this, so fold it into thirds if you can. Maybe put a decent amount of padding. You don't have any blankets here, right? But you can take a couple of mats if you need a couple of mats. And then we're going to come into a kneeling position. So we're not going to come into the full version of Vajrasati, so it's this kneeling back arching posture where we bring our hands down to the heels. But we're just going to focus on the lift and the length, which will take us into an arch. But we don't have to make that contact with our feet. So we're going to let the arch, rather than it be forced by making that contact. So sometimes that makes us lean back into it. And what happens is we lose this lift and length. So we're going to focus on the lift and length. So we can come into this together. You can bring yourself to a position where your knees are around about a hand width apart from each other. Your feet are coming directly behind you. And then we're going to place our hands there on our hips, so on the top of the pelvis. Fingers forwards, thumbs behind the back. And then as you take hold, we can feel into this lift up through the body. So I'm going to deepen down through the knees and through the shins. And as we deepen down, and we can apply a little pressure through the hands into the hips simultaneously, we then start to feel into a lift in the upper body. Now, what you can do is allow the elbows to draw back a little. So they start to draw back a little. We keep lifting up through the body. We keep lifting up through the chest. The elbows may draw back a little more. The shoulders may descend and the shoulder blades deepen into your back ribs. And what you find will start to happen, so we've got this up, 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 up lift coming through the body. We've got this extension out from the heart center across the chest, shoulder blades deepening back to support it. And then we find that we start to lift and we start to lean into a stretch. There's a little light tone in the belly of support, and we breathe. So just feel into that deep breath. Okay, well done. Come up, sit down, press your hands down in your lap, drop your shoulders, soften your forehead, release your jaw. And enjoy your breath. And enjoy the body settling back into a neutral position. And that settling back into that neutral position is, you know, a return to that which is familiar. And it's that which is most deeply familiar. That which has been familiar since, you know, our earliest memory. Because we're dropping into our center, we're not dropping into any constructs of our personality or any constructs of our life here. We're just dropping deep into the center. Okay, once you feel fully settled, you may come out of your posture, open up your mat again, and we're going to bring ourselves down. We're going to do a little twist on our back, but then we're going to come into Shavasana. So if you want to, you know, put socks on or anything like that now in preparation so you don't have to come up again, then go ahead. Okay, so we'll come down, we'll place our feet on the floor. Make sure you put some space either side of you. Take your arms out wide. Okay. What I'd like us to do here is just cross the left arm in front of the body. So you've got the shoulder can lift away from the floor, and just take hold of the wrist and just pull on the left wrist for a moment. And then when you've done that and you've really stretched that upper part of your back on the left side of, on the right side of your back, sorry. Oh, left side of your back. Is that right? Yeah, I'm doing the opposite arm to you. Then you can then roll the arm back down. So it feels sort of spread out on that side. Then cross the other arm over take hold of your wrist. Do the same thing. So you're reaching out, you're giving that hand a little tug, and you're feeling that opening from the spine, even from the other side of the spine, between the shoulder blades, across the shoulder blade to the shoulder, and then you're going to roll that arm back down, and then you're going to place your arms out nice and wide, so we feel broad across the back. And then we're going to feel into a little twisting action. We're going to draw our knees in towards our chest. We're going to walk out the pelvis. And then we're going to let the knees move from side to side. So you can allow your knees to come over towards the right. And then pull them back into the center. Now, you might find that you have to adjust your upper body as you move into this. So feel free to wiggle and move into it. So when you return to the center each time, you feel that you do reset yourself in the center, so to speak. That you're not feeling out of alignment in the center. You wiggle, you walk in, and do what you need to do. And then just keep that movement going. And then when you have moved equally to both sides, when you next return to the center, you're going to bring your feet down to the floor. Maybe you might lift up the pelvis, have a little shake of the buttocks so that can release any holding in the lower back and place buttocks back down. Release the arms, a little press into the back of the head and moving the shoulders and replacing the upper body to the floor. And then you can position your arms as you would for Shavasana. You can extend your legs out, hop some support if you need it, or if you enjoy support under the head, you need it. If your head's leaning back, as you all know, you take that support until you get your head in this position. But then you just allow, you can take support even if your head doesn't lean back, but not too high. And then you may close your eyes. So we're going to settle into Shavasana for a while before we move into our meditation. I'm going to remove our ticking clock for us to go into this with ease. And so let's enjoy the breath. Coming back to the enjoyment of the breath in its life-giving force, that we feel it immediately. It's always there. We kind of take it for granted in many ways, until we get a cold, or if we're out of breath, if we've been running, and then we appreciate the breath. But you only have to, to really appreciate your breath. You only have to hold your breath for a few moments and then feel that urge to breathe. And then we know you recognize the value. So it's not that I'm asking you to hold your breath here, but I'm asking you to relish the breath. to feel the nurturing and nourishing quality of your breath as you lie here and give yourself to the breathing process. Let the floor be your support. Feeling in not just to your own posture, but each other's shavasana. That we are all lying here, whether we're physically in the room or whether we're doing it from our own room. We are all lying here together. We are all committing in this moment to giving ourselves completely to relaxation, to letting go. I'd like you to take a couple of extended breaths, allowing the breath to softly reach in like it's trying to reach into all parts of the body. It's feeling its way through and it's releasing from the body, slowly. So we just let that breath go. We're not trying to hold on to it, but we allow it to make its exit steadily, slowly. And when we've taken, maybe 1, 2, 3 of these more expanded breaths, We're then going to just drop into natural rhythm with our breath. And then you're going to bend your knees and place your feet to the floor. And allow yourself to just be here, feeling the pelvis in contact with the floor. Allow yourself to relax into that. It's often a fairly comforting position to move into, that deep contact through the pelvis. And then from here, you're going to roll yourselves onto your side to face towards the back of the room and pause there. So just taking a moment to rest there. And then when you're ready, you may slowly roll over onto your other side and take a moment to rest. And then in your own time, when you're ready, I'd like you to slowly start to bring yourselves out. So you may allow your eyes to slowly start to open. Little movement through the body perhaps, more conscious breaths perhaps. And then come up from your side, and then we're going to come to our meditation posture, whatever meditation posture you normally take, whether it's cross-legged, kneeling, with support. So you want to make sure the hips are higher than the knees, and we can take support as we need it. So you might even need to adapt your position. I can bring some more blocks over for support if you need it. So if you normally use a blanket for support, because unfortunately we don't have them tonight, let me know. I'll bring you. We've got the soft blue cushions which can be used as a little prop for the knees if you need it. Okay, and then resting your hands on your thighs or in your lap if you've got some extra support there, which can be used, with a block and be propped there. And then let's drop our attention into the heart center. So let's just start by placing our hands there so we can feel from the outside the penetration of the heat from the hands into the center. So how it is possible to reach deep within from the external. And just let your breath flow with that. And then once we've got a real sense of feeling into our center there, feeling that warmth of the hands, going in deep, you may release your hands and place your hands onto your lap, but stay at your center. Now, center, we might define this sort of idea of going into our own center as being, a fairly insular thing to do. But in terms of yoga and meditation, this turn in is a turn towards pure awareness. And as we turn towards pure awareness, to wake up firstly to our own self, or what we feel into in this subjective experience of being. And then when we move in and start to feel this connection, start to breathe into our center, to feel into our center, to reside in our center, then from that point, which we kind of anchor into, we can expand out. So we can expand out to recognize, the other people here in this room, or the other people dialing into this, are all reaching into their center with the same purpose of moving towards awareness. And we're all reaching into the connection with each other's center. So awareness extends beyond the boundary of the body. We can feel into each other. We can integrate together. And we can do this through being fully awake to the experience here and now. To the body, to the breath, to the heart center, to the mind, to the space within the body, and the space outside of the body. We sit in vibrant awareness. Keep bringing your attention into your center. As the epicenter of your awareness. But that awareness may expand out far and wide, certainly into our personal connection between those of us meditating here and now. But you may feel that expansion out into the further reaches of others who aren't meditating with us. But it all comes from our center. Okay. Going to slowly bring our hands to our heart center into Anjali Mudra. Notice how your breath will settle itself at this stage. You don't have to particularly be the agent of that. It will happen by itself. And we're going to close our practice as we mostly do by chanting Om 3 times together. As we chant those Oms, let's feel those Oms that we create together and that we're sending out into, the field of everyone. This representation of integration that this sound provides. So let's take a deep inhalation to prepare. Thank you all very much. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you to the Guardian as well. Hope you stuck it out to the end. Thank you, everyone. So we're gonna, it's my intention to carry on, as long as, we're still not all being forced into self-isolation, and as long as I'm not having to isolate myself through getting sick, of course. So, you can assume the classes are on. I think I'll see how this worked for those guys, get some feedback on the Zoom. So I'll offer that probably as a continued option, so we can, those of you who want to come can come. Those of you who want to Zoom, if it's worked out okay, can Zoom in. And I might even do that for my dropping classes as well. Have a little combination if people are not wanting to come out into the world. So we'll see how we go, and I'll keep you posted. If we're all self-isolating, we'll all be doing it. Okay, thank you.
Do you have to download an app or anything to do that?
I think you can just get it on your laptop through a web link if you've got a laptop. But if you're using your phone, I think you probably have to download the app to do it. But it's free, so you can join Zoom for free. So it's okay.
Yeah, thanks, King. It's really good. Really worked well.
Good.
It worked well, did it? Oh,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, all the way through.
brilliant. Okay. Oh,
Right.
that's good to have that feedback. Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Okay. See you later. Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Let's try and end it. Bye. Bye. Still recording. I don't know how to stop it now. End.